Having sex with as many women as you can is not alpha. It, in fact, is the opposite of being alpha. Because the first aspect of being alpha is self-preservation. And how can you possibly preserve yourself as a man if you are constantly giving your testosterone, your masculine hormone, to however many women you can? You have to be careful who you give your sexual energy to. And not only are you giving your sexual energy to them, you are receiving their sexual energy as well. And sexual energy has a direct connection to spiritual energy. And we already know that the majority of people out here don't have the most positive spiritual energy. Let's take a deep dive on this one. But first, let's elevate to a higher plane. Prepare for takeoff. Now, when I say be careful who you have sex with, I don't mean it in a way of knowing how someone looks or knowing how beautiful they are. Of course, we're going to be attracted to who we have sex with. But sexual connection goes deeper than just the physical. There is an overall being connection that takes place during this exchange of sexual energy. You must keep in mind that whoever you mix bodies with, you are also mixing spirits with. You are also mixing emotionalities with. You are also mixing minds with. It is a complete exchange of beings. And you must be aware that the majority of the people you come into contact with are not going to be fit for you to make that type of exchange with them. If you're a man, the majority of the women you meet don't deserve that. And it's going to be more detrimental to you than it's going to be beneficial. Then that little good feeling you get will ever be beneficial. Women as well. The majority of women out here who are really trying to be the type of quality women that an alpha male would want, the more you give yourself to these beta male simp manginias, the more you give yourself to these evil men, the more you give yourself to these emotionally weak men, the greater the negative effect is going to have on you overall. Sex was not intended to be something that pleases. Sex was intended to be something that procreates. The pleasure is just the cherry on top of the strawberry shortcake. We as men have to keep in mind that no matter what we do, no matter what we say, the facts of our being are the facts of our being. The facts of manhood are the facts of manhood. And the facts of manhood is that self-discipline is key. If you do not have self-discipline, it does not matter what else you have. You can be rich, but without self-discipline, you're just a rich fool. Getting rich is not hard. We all have talents that we can maximize and capitalize on to get wealth. Material wealth anyway. But when we're talking about internal wealth, when we're talking about the wealth that is health, physical health, mental health, spiritual health, and even financial health, as the book of Proverbs states, by means of a whorish woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread. If you love pleasure, you hate health and wealth. Because you find me a man who has the HIV virus and he got that from some type of pursuit of pleasure. You find me a man that has an unwanted child and he got that from some pursuit of pleasure. You find me a woman who has baby daddy drama. That baby daddy drama came because of her pursuit of pleasure. We must keep in mind that as men, our job is not to be seekers of pleasure. Our job is to be leaders. And you can't effectively lead if you're seeking pleasure with all of your time. When you come into contact with a woman and you don't know what her spirit resides in, you are a fool to mix bodies with that woman. completely. Men must understand that if you are going to be the prize, you must actually believe and think you are the prize. And how do you do that? By living like the prize. If you are a prize, why are you spreading yourself so thinly? It's like 50 people going in on a lottery ticket and they only hit $100,000. Yeah, for one person, 100 racks is pretty decent. For two people, 50 racks a piece is okay. For four people, 25 racks a piece is decent. For 5 people, even 20 racks is okay. Man, for 10 people, 10 racks is okay. But for 50 people, 2 racks ain't really nothing to be right home about. It's already gone when you get it. Whether you spend it on a bill or you spend it on a thrill, it's already gone. We as men must keep in mind, man, that our lives are our lives, and our lives are based on our manhood and masculinity and our ability to maintain those things, our ability to keep those things and protect those things and nurture those things and build those things. If you're not building your masculinity, then you're destroying it. And by seeking pleasure with every waking breath, you're simply destroying your masculinity. And I know somebody's going to come in here and say, well, studies show that, every time, you release your testosterone levels, you produce more testosterone. Well, let me break it down for you then, dummy. Of course you produce more testosterone. The same way when you go get a really good workout, your body produces all of the hormones and increases its focus on the systems that rebuild that muscle. The body always handles the latest emergency situation first. And when your testosterone levels drop as low as they do right after you ejaculate, guess what happens? You must understand that your body automatically increases its production of the hormone to get it back to base level. It's not an increase that happens over an extended period of time. So stop looking for a reason to be a hot pocket hound. There is no benefit in being a hot pocket hound. All you do is give your strength away. And it is not for kings. I say it is not for kings to give your strength away to women. So be a peasant, if you will, or start living the life that you know you should be living. Start avoiding the situations that you know you should be avoiding, and start carrying yourself as if you are above the level of the majority of the women that you come into contact with. Because truth be told, if you're a king, you are. Just like if you're a queen, you are above the majority of the men you come into contact with. Yes, there are emotional turmoils that we go through. Yes, there are situations that we need to recover from our past, even as far back as our childhood. But we're adults now. No man should be out here feeling like he needs to have a woman in his bed every single night, a different woman at that, in his bed every single night in order to make him feel like a man. Never let anyone shame you because you're not out here chasing around every woman that you can see and then bragging about how many women you're having sex with. Come on, bro. We grown men. Bragging about sex is something that you do when you ain't had none and then you finally get some. Then, yeah, you go talk to your partner. Say, man, look, wow, man, let me tell you, man, your boy in the game, man. Man, your boy done did it, man. But dog, grown men. How many sexual experiences have you had already? What kind of man are you if something that you've been doing for years still seems like something to brag about? If sex was money, then that's a broke man's mentality. Always wanting more and more women is not an abundance mindset. An abundance mindset is a mindset that says you already have it. A scarcity mindset is a mindset that's consistently in pursuit, consistently chasing, consistently on the lookout, lurking, trying to find more and more and more sex. Bragging about more and more and more and more sex. And when a man decides that he is bigger than the pursuit of sex, you want to shun that man and talk to him as if he's a nobody. Well, guess what? The man who is so totally controlled by pleasure that he is in constant pursuit of sex, that is the man who is a nobody. That is the man who is less than a man, That is a man whose testosterone levels are always low because he's always letting his soldiers go. I'm telling you what I know, man. If we're going to be men, then we are not going to be men who believe that every woman we meet that looks good deserves to share our sexual energy. Because in sharing your sexual energy, she shares your manhood, your masculinity. You let her access all of it at that particular time. Now, think about how many leeches there are here among us, men and women. Think about how many leeches there are among us, people who just drain energy vampires among us. And ask yourself, are you absolutely sure that all of these people you've been with aren't energy vampires? Are you absolutely positive that all of the people you're pursuing now are energy vampires? Are you absolutely positive that you yourself are not an energy vampire? Which is why you need to have so much sex with so many different people. It is not logical to have that much sex with that many different women. It is downright evil. It is not what God would want a man to do. It is not what represents righteousness. It is not what represents masculinity. It is not what represents manhood. Indeed, I dare say that the more sex you need to pursue with women, the more you seem to need to validate your own manhood by having more sex with women. Maybe there's some underlying issue in your psyche where you don't really feel like a man, and you feel like the more women you have sex with, the more like a man you'll feel, the more of a man you'll be. Perhaps that's your issue. But if it is, I can promise you one thing. No amount of sex, no amount of contact with women, no amount of porn, no amount of bussing, no amount of any of that is going to make you feel more like a man. That's why throughout your life, you got to continue to chase those things. Let me tell you something. You're like a crackhead that got that high at one time and you keep chasing it only to find out you never get that same high. As a matter of fact, it takes more and more and more to get anything close to that high until you just don't even get high anymore. A lot of you men out here chasing sex like this, man, and you're not even finding the amount of pleasure in it that you did before. You're just doing it out of habit, and you're doing it because you haven't figured out any other way to make yourself feel like a man. Well, let me tell you what you do. Instead of worrying about your little tallywhacker on the outside, instead of validating yourself with working your wee-wee, what you should do is look at your internal man. Build him up, and I guarantee you'll feel more of a man. So much, in fact, that you won't even feel the need to be out there running around like a prostitute that's not getting paid. You men are behaving like prostitutes. The only problem is, not only are you out here behaving like that, but you paying the tricks to accept your services. The game has changed tremendously, and men don't understand that. The bottom line is, you do not ever get the validation you're looking for by having sex with as many women as you can. And you can take that to the bank, write that check, guarantee it won't bounce. Y'all comment down below and let me know what you think about this topic, man. I look forward to hearing what you men have to say. I'm out.
Trying to become the most alpha version of you. Trying to become the most alpha version of you. Striving to become the most alpha version of you. Fighting to become most alpha version of you. Welcome to the alpha sphere. Get money division. The place where you transform into a man on a mission.